tuning into Baiswave.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Dutch Refresher. In today's episode, we're diving into the political shakeup in The Hague, where local power, big wins, and surprising losses are reshaping the city's future. From the rise of Hart for Den Haag to shifting voter loyalties, let's break down what really just happened on the election day. On March 18th, the municipal elections in The Hague took place. Around 46.37% of eligible voters turned out to cast their vote. In the last episode of the Dutch Refresher, we explained how the Dutch local voting system works and introduced some of the main candidates competing in this election. Let's now look at the outcome of the election. The big winner of the elections in The Hague was Hart for Den Haag, a local party that focuses just on The Hague itself. They won 16 out of 45 seats, which is a huge gain compared to last time. So you could say they really dominated these elections. Then there's D66, which came in second with 8 seats. Julia van Herpen tells us all about the program of D66 in the Dutch Refresher, episode 3. That's still a big number, but noticeably smaller than Hart for Den Haag. After that, the GroenLinks PvdA alliance, where we interviewed Venna Timsy in episode 1 of the Dutch Refresher, won 7 seats. An important change from the last elections was that VVD lost a lot. They went down to just 3 seats, which is a big drop from their previous 7 seats in 2022. Then there are smaller parties like DENK, the Party for Animals, CDA, and a few others that each won a couple of seats, or sometimes just one. So guys, I'm now with Luka. Luka, can you please tell us what the election votes mean right now?
This shows that politics in The Hague is really divided. There is no single party controlling everything, and that's actually a key point. Nobody has a majority. There are 45 seats in total in the municipal council, and to have a majority, you need at least 23 seats. But the biggest party, Hart for Den Haag, only has 16 seats, meaning that they cannot govern alone. This is where the political game after the elections begins. Coalition building. That means that parties have to talk to each other and negotiate to form a governing coalition. They need to figure out who they can work with, where they agree, and where they have to compromise. Hart for Den Haag, as the largest party, gets the first chance to form a coalition. But that's not always easy because other parties also need to want to work with them. Sometimes parties have very different views, for example on migration, safety, or social services. Let me briefly introduce Hart for Den Haag, one of the most influential local political parties in The Hague. Hart for Den Haag, led by Richard de Mos, was founded in 2013 and has grown into a major force in local politics. In recent elections, as mentioned earlier, with 16 seats, has even become the largest party in the city. What makes this party distinctive is its focus on what they call ombudspolitiek, a hands-on approach where politicians directly address everyday problems faced by citizens. In essence, less talk, more action. The party does not position itself clearly on the traditional left-right spectrum, but instead presents itself as practical and action-oriented. Its main priorities are safety, affordability, and improving daily life in the city. On safety, Hart for Den Haag advocates for stricter law enforcement and more visible policing in neighborhoods. On housing and affordability, they push for more homes for local residents and lower municipal taxes to reduce the cost of living. They also take a strong stance on migration, arguing that The Hague has reached its limits and opposing the establishment of new asylum centers. In addition, they emphasize issues like car accessibility, lower parking costs, and tackling waste problems in the city. Many voters support Hart for Den Haag because of its clear and direct style. The party focuses on concrete, visible problems and offers solutions that feel immediate and relatable. This gives people the sense that their concerns are being heard and taken seriously. But there are also some controversies surrounding this party. Miray, can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, of course. So critics argue that his position on migration are too strict and that his approach can be seen as populist, focusing more on quick fixes than long-term solutions. There have also been past integrity concerns involving party leadership, which have affected trust among other political parties. This mainly involved their former leader, Richard de Mos. In 2019, he was investigated on suspicion of corruption, with allegations that he accepted support from business figures in exchange for political influence. This led to police investigations and forced him to step down from his position as city councillor at the time. Although in 2023 the court cleared him of the most serious corruption charges, the situation still had a lasting impact. It damaged trust between Hart for Den Haag and other political parties, and it made coalition cooperation more difficult. Because of this, critics often bring up concerns about transparency and long-term governance when discussing the party, even today.
As mentioned earlier, even though Hart for Den Haag became the largest party, it will struggle to form a governing coalition. There are three main reasons for this. First, there are strong ideological differences, especially with parties like GroenLinks PvdA and D66, particularly on issues such as migration and inclusivity. Second, other parties sometimes find the political style of Hart for Den Haag too confrontational, which makes cooperation more difficult. And third, there are strategic reasons like other parties may prefer to work together in a coalition that excludes Hart for Den Haag, even if it means leaving out the largest party. Although Hart for Den Haag represents a strong and growing voice in local politics, focused on direct action and everyday concerns, its controversial positions and political style make it difficult for the party to translate electoral success into actual governing power. Therefore, it can take a while before a new city government is finally formed. During this time, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes discussion. Eventually, a coalition emerges, and together with the mayor and the aldermen, they govern The Hague for the next 4 years. On average, coalition negotiations in the Netherlands take anywhere between 1 and 3 months at the municipal level. However, in more complex situations, especially when parties strongly disagree or when the largest party is excluded, it can take even longer. In the case of The Hague, coalition formation has often been particularly difficult due to political fragmentation and ideological differences between parties. After the previous municipal elections in 2022, it took roughly 3 months to form a new coalition. Despite Hart for Den Haag becoming the largest party, it was ultimately excluded from the governing coalition. Instead, other parties negotiated among themselves to form a majority government without them. The mayor is Jan van Zanen and he is from VVD. And why is this so important for you or for people living in The Hague?
Because the choices these people make have direct effects on daily lives. For example, will there be more affordable housing? Will your neighborhoods become safer? How will public services like waste management, schools and healthcare be organized? These aren't abstract issues. They literally determine how your streets look, how clean your area is, and whether it is easy to find a home. What's also interesting is that local parties like Hart for Den Haag can become so powerful. This shows that people sometimes trust local parties more than national parties, simply because they focus only on the city. At the same time, you can see that the political landscape is fragmented, with many small parties. That means cooperation is very important. No single party can do everything on its own.
So, to sum it up, although the municipal elections of 2026 in The Hague has a party who gained a majority, it has produced no clear winner, meaning that the real decisions will be made next, during coalition negotiation. And ultimately, this will shape how The Hague develops over the next few years. Even though municipal elections might seem less exciting than national elections, they're actually just as important. Maybe even more so, because they directly affect your daily life. So the next time there are municipal elections, it's worth paying attention to who people are voting for, why, and what does it mean for the city. Because at the end of the day, it's about your neighborhood, your city, and your life. That's what makes these elections actually pretty interesting.
So guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and I hope to see you soon in our next episode.